this is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope that you're having a fantastic day wherever it is that you are and whatever time it is that you get to watch this Bible summary. If you're here for the very first time, karibu sana, sit down. This happens every day from Monday to Friday. And if you've been here from the beginning of time, not from the beginning of time, but from when I started doing this thing, you're a really true blessing to me. And may the Lord give you the grace to continue watching and to continue with this journey of the Bible summary. Please do remember to subscribe, to like, to comment, and most importantly, to share this video. So today we are going to be covering the summary of Deuteronomy chapter 12, which is where Moses is teaching this new generation of Israelites the importance of the place of worship and the practice of worship. So I'm going to be reading it word for word. This time around, and I read every chapter word for word. So I'm going to be reading it word for word, and I'm going to be using the New Living Translation. So kindly follow through and let's learn from the Word of God. So Deuteronomy chapter 12. The subtitle is the Lord's chosen place of worship. That's the subtitle. He says, these are the decrees and regulations you must be careful to obey when you live in the land that the Lord your God, the God of your ancestors, is giving you. You must obey them as long as you live. When you drive out the nations that live there, you must destroy all the places that they worship their gods, high on the mountain, up on the hills, and under every green tree. Break down their altars and smash their sacred pillars. Burn their Asherah poles and cut down their carved idols. Completely erase their names of their gods. Do not worship the Lord your God in the ways these pagan people worship their God. Rather, you must seek the Lord your God at the place of worship He Himself will choose from among all the tribes. The place of worship that He will choose. I like that. The place where His name will be honored. There you will bring your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your sacred offerings, your offerings. How many offerings? Let me repeat, guys. It says, there you will bring your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your sacred offerings, your offerings to fulfill a vow, your voluntary offerings, and your offerings of the firstborn animals of your herd and flocks. There you and your family will feast in the presence of the Lord your God, and you will rejoice in all that you have accomplished because the Lord your God has blessed you. Your pattern of worship will change. Today all of you are going as you please, because you have not yet arrived at the place of rest, the land that the Lord your God is giving to you as a special possession. But you will soon cross the Jordan River and live in the land that your God is giving you. When He gives you rest from all your enemies and you are living safely in the land, you must bring everything I command you, your burnt offering and your sacrifices, your tithe and your sacred offerings, your offering to fulfill a vow, to the designated place of worship, to the place the Lord God chooses for His name to be honored. You must celebrate there in the presence of the Lord your God, with your sons, with your daughters, and all your servants. And remember to include the Levites who live in your town. They will receive no allotment for the land among you. Be careful not to sacrifice your burnt offering just anywhere like you like. You may do so only at the place that the Lord will choose within one of your tribal territories. Then you must offer your burnt offering and do everything I command you. But you may butcher your animals and eat their meat in any town whenever you want. You may freely eat the animals with which the Lord your God blesses you with. All of you, whether ceremonially clean or unclean, may eat the meat, just as you now eat gazelles and deers. You must not consume the blood. You must pour it out on the ground like water. But you must not eat the offering in your hometown. Neither the tithe of your grains or new wine or olive oil, nor the firstborns of your flocks or herds, nor any offering to fulfill a vow, nor your voluntary offerings, nor your sacred offerings. You must eat these in the presence of the Lord your God at the place He will choose. Eat them there with your children, your servants, and the Levites who live in your town. celebrating the presence of the Lord your God in all that you do. And be careful, be very careful, never to neglect the Levites as long as you live in your land. When the Lord your God expands your territories as he has promised, and you have the urge to eat meat, you may freely eat meat whenever you want. It might happen that the designated place of the designated place of worship, the place that the Lord your God has chosen his name to be honored, is a long way from home. If so, you may butcher any cattle, sheep, or goat to the Lord that the Lord has given you, and you may freely eat the meat in your hometown, as I have commanded you. That's like choma, like unaweza choma nyama, unaweza, Anyone, whether ceremonially clean or unclean, may eat that meat, just as you do now with gazelles and deers, but never consume the blood. For the blood is the life, and you must not consume the life blood with the meat. Instead, pour out the blood on the ground like water. Do not consume the blood, so that all may go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what pleases the Lord. Take your sacred gifts and your offerings given to fulfill a vow to the place that the Lord chooses. You must offer the meat and the blood of your burnt offering on the altar of the Lord your God. The blood of the other sacrifices must be poured out on the altar of the Lord your God, but you may eat the meat. Be careful to obey all my commands, so that all will go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is good and pleasing to the Lord your God. I like that, the repetition. Repetition is good, you guys. When the Lord your God goes ahead of you, destroy the nations, and you drive them out and live in their lands. Do not fall into the traps of following their customs and worshiping their God. Do not inquire about their God, saying, how do these nations worship their God? I want to follow their example. You must not worship the Lord. You must not worship the Lord your God the way that these other nations worship their gods, for they perform for their gods every detestable act that the Lord hates. They even burn their sons and daughters as sacrifice to their gods. So be careful to obey the commands that I give you, and you must not add anything to them or subtract anything from them. And that is basically the end of the chapter. It's a bit long, but I thank the Lord that He's given me the strength to even be able to read it all. But let me tell you, in this chapter, Moses is teaching the Israelites about the place of worship, about the temple, or the places that God will choose to be worshipped at. And some of the teachings may be very ancient, like about now sacrificing things and all those offerings. There may be very ancient ways of worship that were specific to the Israelites. But we can learn the intention and the purpose of the place of worship from these verses, especially from verse 5 all the way to verse 7. So let's start with verse 5. What does it say? It says, rather, you must seek the Lord your God at the place of worship He Himself will choose from among all the tribes, the place where His name will be honored. I like that specific verse because it says that the Lord Himself will choose a place where He can be worshipped, a place where His name will be honored. If anything, this teaches us that it is important for us to prayerfully ask God to lead us to a specific church that He Himself has chosen for us. It is good to ask God to lead us prayerfully to a place, to a church where He has chosen for us, that He knows will be suitable and befitting for us. Verse 6, what does it say? There you will bring your burnt offering, your sacrifices, your tithes, your sacred offerings, your offerings to fulfill a vow, your voluntary offerings, and your offerings for the first animals of your herds and flock. This teaches us that the place of worship is a place for us to worship God with our sacrificial giving. And it can be sacrificial giving of our time, it can be sacrificial giving of our talents and skills, it can be sacrificial giving of our resources, and it can also be sacrificial giving of our tithes as thanksgiving, as a way of thanking God, as thanksgiving for the things that God has blessed us. So one of the things that we have learned about the place of worship is, number one, it is important to prayerfully ask God to send us to a church that He feels is befitting for us. And number two is that a place of worship is a place of sacrificial giving, and sacrificial giving of our time, of our skills, of our resources, of our talents, and tithing as a way of thanking God. The other thing we learn is that it says in verse 7, I read verse 5, verse 6, and then this is verse 7. It says, there you and your families will feast in the presence of the Lord. I like that, the feasting part. Please don't in your food. You wake it up. There you and your families will feast in the presence of the Lord your God, and you will rejoice in all that you have accomplished because the Lord has blessed you. Lastly, a place of worship. A place of worship is a place of fellowship. It's a place of feasting and a place of rejoicing and celebrating the blessings of God. A place of worship is a place of fellowship. It's a place of mulo, feasting. It's good to feast in the presence of the Lord. And it's a place of rejoicing and celebrating the presence and the blessings, the presence of God and the blessings of God in our lives. So 3 things we've learned about the places of worship. Number 1, that it is important to prayerfully ask God to send us to a church that is befitting for us. Number 2 is that a place of worship is a place where we can go and worship God with our tithes, with our offering of time, of talents, of skills, of resources, and just simply thanking God with the things that He has given us and giving back to God. And number 3 is that a place of worship is a place of fellowship, of feasting, and rejoicing in the blessings of the Lord. I know that a lot has been said and even seen, not just said and seen about the places of worship that are there to date, like this day. But I still pray, and it is my honest prayer that the Lord, as you engage with the Lord, and even as you pray, as you seek, that the Lord will show you and send you to a church that is befitting and suitable for you and for your family. Because at the end of the day, we were not created to worship God by ourselves. There's no place God says, now go to the temple all by yourself. It's always with people. It's always with fellowship. We were not created to worship God alone. We were created for fellowship. This is your girl, Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.